She has spent the final week of her campaign comparing her political opponents to the most evil mass murderers in history. That's us. She compares us. Then sleepy Joe Biden called our supporters garbage. Called you, me, all of us. Garbage. We're garbage. And then he tried to get out of it. Did you see he wanted to change the transcripts? Can you imagine? It's like 60 Minutes. It's like, he reminds me of 60 Minutes. Let's change their answers. You ever see that one before? She gave a bad answer. They took the answer out and they put another answer in. They haven't done that for me. But because I think it'll make you happy, I'll tell you right now, we just sued them yesterday for a lot of money. Because we consider it to be, Mr. Attorney General, election interference fraud. We have a good case. My response to Joe and Kamala is very simple. You can't lead America if you don't love Americans. You can't. They don't love America. And you can't be president if you hate the American people. Everything Kamala says is a lie. Her entire campaign is one hoax and slander after another. But the only way to stop the lies is to swamp them with the votes. We're going to swamp them like they haven't been swamped before. Kamala has no vision, no ideas, and no solutions. All she can talk about is Donald Trump. Can you believe it?
Good evening, everyone. Tonight I will speak. Good evening, everyone. Tonight I will speak about Donald Trump. 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 Trump.
That was the other night. That was 2 nights ago. She's supposed to be talking about economic development, which she knows nothing about. She kept saying, Donald Trump this, Donald. She's crazy. She has got a massive and untreatable case of Trump derangement syndrome. There are some people who thrive under pressure, and there are some people who crack under pressure. If Kamala can't handle an interview with Joe Rogan, then she can't handle the presidency of the United States, can't she? She will get completely overwhelmed, meltdown, and millions of people will die. No, we can't have this. It's not a charity event running for president or being president. This is an election for the biggest and toughest job in the history of the world. There's no job tougher, bigger, more important. We can change the whole world, and for the positive, for the positive. Do you want to lose your life savings because we put a weak and ineffective person in the White House? Do you want to lose your job and maybe your house and pension because Kamala has the economic understanding of a mere child? And would you trust Kamala Harris to talk Russia or China out of a war? I don't think so. In fact, they tried that, 3 days before Russia invaded Ukraine, right? They tried it. She went and she met with a lot of people, and right after she came back, they invaded. Good job, Kamala. Would have never happened if I was president. Would have never happened. Nothing is more dangerous than to give immense power to a very weak and incompetent person with an extremely low IQ. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself, can you afford to put someone this incompetent in charge of the United States of America? On top of it all, Kamala says she would not do one thing differently from Joe Biden. Think of this. Right track, wrong track. She's wrong track almost 90% of the time, the both of them. And yet she says nothing different. Please take a look.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch.
The chaotic and deadly U.S. evacuation from Afghanistan stunned Americans and the world and cost the lives of 13 U.S. soldiers.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
More than 13,000 illegal immigrants convicted of murder have been caught at the border and then released into the United States.
An Afghan national is in custody today after being accused of plotting an election day terrorist attack. The suspect entered the U.S. on a special immigrant visa.
Gut-wrenching new details in the murder of Georgia nursing student Laken Riley. The illegal immigrant suspect, who cops say committed the heinous murder, is a Venezuelan national who crossed the unsecured southern border back in 2022.
Two men investigators say are in the country illegally from Venezuela are charged with capital murder in the death of Jocelyn Nungaray.
A fifth illegal immigrant accused of attacking two New York City police officers over the weekend showed no remorse or regret.
Would you have done something differently?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Only 18% say the economy is in excellent or good condition.
US inflation has hit a new 40-year high, increasing by 9.1% over the financial year.
Authorities saying Train de Aragua, which has been linked with more than 100 criminal investigations here in the U.S., has now been found operating its criminal enterprise in apartment complexes.
Were you the last person in the room? Yes.
Nothing comes to mind. Nothing comes to mind. That's true in her case. Nothing. And it never will. If you want to end this disaster, this horrible trip that we're on, get out and vote. Tuesday, just get out and vote. So we're pleased to be joined by a wonderful guy, and with this name, I really believe he's going to win for the Senate. Hung Cao. Do you know who Hung Cao is?